Morning everyone, or afternoon, evening, merry birthday party, whatever. Welcome to Sprocket Man Designs. Today I'm going to carry on with building up this set of Dura-Ace wheels. Today I'm working on the rear. Now, as you can see from the rim, I've gone around and marked out the 7 holes that are on the non-drive side. The reason I used red tape is so you could spot it too, keep it nice and simple. First thing I've got to do is just gently draw the axle through on the hub so I can get the non-drive spokes in. So this one's going to be a little bit easier than the front one. I've got 2 chances, I'm sure. And as you can hear, the dogs are talking today. This one is moving quite nicely. A shadow must have gone past the front window. Might as well clean that while we're here. Have you lot finished now? Apparently not. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to start off with the non-drive side spokes. And all I'm really going to do for now is just chuck them into the hub and then go to work from there. That I'm aware of, this spoke pattern is unique to this particular wheel, but I've never actually seen it anywhere else. I could be wrong, of course. I would like to say that I've researched it, but that would be a lie. Oops. The other fun problem that I face with this build is you have to buy the spokes and spoke nipples as 2 separate entities, and unfortunately there is a shortage of these particular spoke nipples. What makes them so unique is the end of the head there is slightly convex and smooth, and there's no cutout in it for a nipple driver to go in, whereas on a standard spoke nipple, while it's a similar convex shape, it's got the cutout in it, which means when I start tensioning this, those edges may cause an issue with the carbon. To try and overcome that, if I can make it work, wrapped up in this blue cloth, I've got some small brass washers. Or is that them underneath it? Oh no, they're underneath. Usually what those would be used for is you put it on the spoke, on a regular spoke first, so then when it comes up to the edge of the hub flange, it just presses in, takes up any slack and makes a tighter fit. It can make building a wheel a little bit harder, but ultimately the wheel becomes stronger and can go a lot longer before you need to true it. All being well anyway. I've never had one back that I've done that with, so not even sure you can buy those anymore. So my plan with those, because of the way the spoke nipple has to go in, I'm going to use a very mild branded adhesive just to stick them on to the spoke nipples, and with a bit of that tiny little sliver of brass will be enough to prevent any problems from developing down the road. Helps if you put the spoke nipple in the right way around, doesn't it? Or even the spoke itself. I know what I mean. Listen to what I'm thinking, not what I'm saying. Right, let's get this guy back together and done up. And we can start thinking about how I'm going to get this to work. I should be able to. I've got a problem there. And unlike the front wheel, I have actually remembered to put the dust seal cum spacer back on. See, I do learn from my mistakes. Okay, so that's the axle back together. Now all I've got to do is plot out how I'm going to do this and then crack on with it. Before I do that, I'm going to go and wash the grease off my hands, because frankly I don't want to get that on the braking surface and mess up a perfectly good rim. Back in a minute. Okay, so that's all the non-drive spokes in position, and as you can see they come radially, or straight if you wish, from the hub to the rim, just like the front wheel. So what I'm going to do now, I've orientated the hub to where I want it to be for silly reasons really, but it's the way I like to do it. I'm now going to do the fun part, which is try and get spoke nipples onto the spoke. If this is anything like doing the front one, it's going to bite me. Every millimetre of the way. And it doesn't help when you suddenly spot something lurking inside the rim. yeah, this is going to be a fight, and you don't want to sit there watching me argue with it. So I'm going to pause it again. There's going to be a lot of this going on today. See you in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, I've got that side all nicely hooked up. There you go, cup doesn't drop out, neither do spokes. So now what I've got to do is lace up the drive side. This is, to a greater or lesser extent, you'd never believe I'd got a master's in English and creative writing. Anyway, yeah, all I'm going to do is locate where each spoke is going to go. And to make it more entertaining, the problem we're faced with this particular build, other than the spoke nipples, is these spokes are ridiculously hard to come by, to the extent where my friend managed to get almost all of them, except for on the drive side he ended up having to buy, let's see how many we got here, 6 slightly different ones. They're the same length, dimensions, everything else, but you should be able to see that those are just a plain satin black, whereas the correct ones for this wheel set, if you can see that lovely anodising there, hope you can, have the pattern on the spoke. So part of today's challenge is not only have I got to get 5 strange spoke nipples to go on, I mean they fit, I've measured them up and they fit the tool correctly, but I've also got to somehow hide those 6 spokes, so unless you have a good close look at it you won't see it. How I'm going to do that is at this time utterly beyond me, although now I've said that, I think if I start with those, again it's a radial or straight pull from the hub to the rim, but in this case the head of the spoke sits at 90 degrees to that side, so it's actually quite easy to spot. You know what, that might work, because then with its body pointing the opposite direction, yeah, so what I'm going to do is use the flat black ones effectively as the pulling spokes. I call them that because as you pedal against the free hub body there, the spokes that sort of point back, if you will, are doing the pulling work, whereas the spokes that will be coming this way through the rim hub are doing more of a pushing motion. This is how I like to lace wheels generally. So yeah, let's get those in. This is where I discover there's going to be something awkward about this, isn't it? Right, all I have to remember to do is not push them all the way through. Like I just did with that one, because I'm stupid. So by leaving the flat in the hole, it just gives me a little bit more wriggle room to get the next spoke in line into position. Of course, you know what's going to happen next. I'm going to get to this end one and have to rethink it all, and my brilliant thinking will prove to be a bit soft, but there we have it. It's a chance I'm prepared to make. If you can't make a fool of yourself in public, where can you? And now bit one that may or may. Right, so what I can do now, pull the very first spoke all the way through, and then feed its body behind it all the way in, and then just go backwards until they're all sat in their home position, and with a bit of luck, yeah, so far so not bad at all. Right, let's chuck the opposite side in, or do I want to try and hook those up first? Yeah, there's a thought. You know, thinking about it, I might hook those up first. Because then they won't be... No, I'm going to put the wheel back in the jig and probably mutter and curse for a few minutes as I try and get the spoke nipples on. I've also got to work out which one's going there. But if they all go as easily as that, you can call me happy. When in doubt, drink more coffee. Right, so, as I said earlier, I was going to use this glue just for sorting out the little washers, and then I looked at it and thought, you're being an idiot. It's a really lightweight stationery glue that's not really very good at sticking paper either, to be fair, or at least not as quick as I'd like. Why not put it on the tip of the spoke before you put it in the tool? That way it'll hold it all together and it's less aggravating. And in doing that, it actually took me far less time to put the radial spoke into position than it would have done if I carried on with the routine I was using before. So of course, now I've said that, what do you know, first one's in. Now, a little while ago I shut the back door because it was getting a little bit chilly in here. Because where would I be without barking dogs? Now I've shut the door, the sun's come out. Do you mind? I'd like to be able to hear myself think. Here we go, this one is at one plate, and that spoke just fell out. Okay, this is going to be another one of those. So, as usual, what I'm going to do to save you the pain, I'm going to stop the camera again, get this done and come back. Hopefully the dogs will have gone to sleep by then, you never know. Okay, so what you can see before you there are the 5 washers I'm going to put on the different spoke nipples that I've got to use. If I pull back, you will see just how minute they are in relation to what it is I'm doing. So, if I can just secure this, we'll crack on. Alright, so all the pull spokes are now in, as you can just about make out. Now I'm going to put the 7 remaining spokes, which for argument's sake we'll call the push spokes, if I can hold on to them, that is. So that's going to get complicated, isn't it? Or is it? Right, looks like I'm going to have to do as I did before, get them all laced all the way. Now I'm going to risk not doing that and see what happens. Mostly out of curiosity, because I really don't know what am I doing. Having a brain moment. So as before, I'm just putting a tiny spot of the glue on the sides of the spoke nipple, and that just allows me to hold it upside down without dropping it, which actually makes getting these on a whole lot easier. Why I never thought of it while I was doing the front wheel is beyond me. And as before, I'm using my little, haven't taken, my little tool just to hold the spoke flat, stop it twisting about. Right, there you go, come on. Yep, definitely having a brain moment. Okay, so this is the end of the easy bit so far as the original spoke nipples go. After this, it's going to be all excitement and adventure and really wild things. And I've got to be honest, I'll probably stop the camera again just so you don't have to listen to me swearing. Right, so what I'm going to do is, as I just said, I'll stop the camera now, proceed with getting the remaining 5 spokes in. 5 spokes? How many are there? 2, yeah, 5. See, I can't even count today. And see whether my idea for those actually works. What I'm planning on doing is, as I've been doing with the Shimano ones, how did a dog head get on that glue? So put a spot of glue on to the spoke nipple like that, so it can't drop out. What I'm then going to do is put some on the end in the vague hope it hasn't worked right. Well, it partially worked, I guess. So let's try that again. You know what? That's the spoke nipple with the washer on it. If I'm really unlucky, this might just work out. So, I'll leave it running for a minute just so you get to see whether I've got this right or whether I am going to make a complete fool of myself. Alright. Okay, let's see how this is going to go. What am I doing wrong here? I'm trying to put it on the wrong spoke, can't I? Am I? It would really help if you could see inside these stupid things. Unbelievable. Right, as I've just lost the spoke nipple, I'm going to stop it and try and retrieve it. See you in a bit. Okay, quick update for you. After the best part of 3 hours messing around, I finally managed to get the last of the spoke nipples on with its washer. What a nightmare. That said, they're all in. All I've got to do now is start applying tension. Wow, what a fight. And if I just move this up a fraction, you should be able to see that the spokes do in fact cross over. So it goes, this spoke here goes over the top of this one and behind its adjacent one. So all in all, I got there. If I never have to do that again, I will be really happy. So now I've just got to get it tensioned up so it works. There we go. Yeah, because at the moment, as you can see, there's a little bit of play in it, but I will crack on and hopefully finish the damn thing today, because it is seriously starting to annoy me. But once it's done, I can smile in a happy and cheerful manner and the job's done. And you may have just heard the sound of paws going past. That was our middle-sized dog. He's now standing outside and looking back in through the window. I do sometimes wonder what goes on inside their doggy brains, and then I remember very little. There you go. Oh, can't see her. There she is. You can just see her through the spokes. Trouble with a nose on it. That dog is entirely far too intelligent for its own good. Right, see you in a bit when I've got this tensioned up. And finally, here it is. One completed rear wheel. Cassette fitted, tyre and tube on. As with everything to do with this wheel build, getting the tyre on was bloody awkward as well, because it was a super tight fit. But it's there, it is done. It's dead straight, no bob in it. Hopefully my mate can be really pleased with these. I'll just try and pull back so you can see it in all its glory. There you go. And that's my pet dragon in the corner. Dragons are good. So, once again, thanks for watching another episode of Sprocket Man Designs. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope my mate enjoys these wheels. Otherwise I'll be forced to strangle him. Oh well. Cheers guys.